Alright, so today I thought I'd do a little bit of a vlog type of thing. Kind of get away from the do stuff while I wait for my coffee to brew. A little breezy today, but it's a beautiful day. Yesterday it was pretty cloudy, but we had to do laundry, so I went ahead and filled the water on a cloudy day, and it was I didn't get a good enough charge to get through the night, so I put about a quart of gas in the generator down there to get me through the night. So when I woke up, I was right at the bare minimum, right where I usually am throughout the night, I should say, of where I want to be on my amperage, or my voltage, excuse me. So, sun come up, it's charging good today. So, just got to do what you got to do sometimes. So, as you know, I've been flipping this lawnmower, and I want to tell you that I got it sold. It's sold, and they already paid me for it. And I made about 2.5 times the amount of what I put into it. So it was a really good deal. Didn't get quite as much as what I wanted out of it. You know, he talked me down a little bit. That was expected. However, I took it over there, and he ran it for about 15 minutes in really tall grass. Now, I'd already left. I dropped it off, showed him how to operate it, and he messaged me back and said the belt broke. So I went back over there, and he admitted he was running in tall grass, the mower deck. So I thought, well, you know, 15 minutes, that's probably on me. So I went ahead, picked it up, brought it back, and I took the belt it was cut in half. It had cut. There's something cut it. So a stick, you know, something got up in there and cut it. But I still went ahead and took the hit on that. The belt was only $10 for the cheap one, $15 for the expensive one, and I asked myself, do I want to get the $15 one? Now, if it was the customer wanting the $15 one, I would have gotten the $15 one. I know this is going to sound terrible, but I'm doing it for free, no labor cost, nothing, and he cut it. So I got the $10 one. We're going to put it on there. I know some trolls are going to say, oh, that's just terrible. Why would you do that? You need to get the expensive one. Well, first of all, the cheap one will do just fine. I used them all the time for my mowers, and I just don't see the point why I got. Well, I mean, he was cutting tall grass, and that's what these people do: is they buy a mower, an old mower, use it as a brush hog, and they expect you to guarantee it for life. It's not a brush hog. I mean, it's a fine lawn or garden tractor. But as far as a lawnmower, it's a standard lawnmower. It just has a bigger deck. So, you know, you got to run slow. And when I got over there, he had it in the grass cutting position on the transmission. You know, when you're running that thick, you got to run slow. People just don't want to. And he probably picked up a stick, and it went in between the belt and the pulley, and he cut it. But it was clearly cut. So that'll be done by Thursday. This is Tuesday. I'll get it back over to him. He was disappointed, but he wasn't upset. At least he didn't seem upset. You can see he was disappointed. But yeah, I guess with me coming right over, I mean, I immediately came back as soon as he told me and picked it up. So I just do the best I can with customer service. Yeah, I can't guarantee everything on the lawnmower. It is as is. You know, when I go pick up a lawnmower, I'm taking a risk every time I pick one up. The thing with this one is the transmission could have been shot. The guy told me the belt was slipping, and he replaced the belt, and the belt was too big. You know, there's clues in that statement. So I took a risk and went ahead and got it, and I changed the oil, the transmission fluid, transmission oil, the oil filter, because those are the most common issues. I changed the fan, put a new belt on it, and it ran. It was a risk. If I'd had to buy a new transmission, that would have been $149. I would not have made 2.5 times the price on it. But I figured with it only being 15 minutes that I'll go ahead and do it, and I'll let him know that, you know, he needs to slow down in the that tall grass, and be aware of sticks. It's not a brush hog. And I know that's what he bought it for. I'm confident that he bought this thing. It was a big monster lawnmower, 50-inch. That was, you know, that's all he wanted to know was how much grass could it cut? But you know, it can cut a lot of grass quickly, but it's got to be regular sized grass, otherwise slow down. The other thing I noticed was this is something that anybody born before 19, I'd say 90, doesn't know. My grandfather told me, don't run the RPMs up on your lawnmower, keep them down. And he would scold me every time I'd run them up, and he would scold me every time I asked him about it. But maybe in the old days, I don't see how that's true, but maybe in the old days it was true that you had to keep the RPMs down. But in newer lawnmowers, they're designed to run a certain RPM. They have to run at a certain RPM. Back then, you had more torque in the engine, more horsepower. Maybe back then you'll remember, you know, the biggest lawnmowers they had were 8 horsepower. And, you know, those were some monster machines, the Wheel Horse, the Sears, the Simplicities. I can't think of all of them. But they were garden tractors, 8 horsepower. You know, if you saw 12 horsepower, you were on top of the world. Well, here, this one's 22 horsepower. And I would say it can do about equal amount of work as an old Wheel Horse can do. What's the difference? Well, this one relies on horsepower, RPMs, whereas the Wheel Horse relied on torque. You know, there's all kinds of mathematical questions about that, but that's what it is. So you got to run these RPMs up, otherwise you're actually stressing the engine out. You know, that's why people say you need to run the RPMs down, because you don't want to stress the engine. But you're actually stressing the engine more by not running the RPMs all the way up. And it's governed that way. They're not going to let you over rev it. And as long as you keep the oil changed, you're not going to wear out the engine. Which kind of brings me to today's adventure. So today, last night, I saw a lawnmower for $25. It was an Ace hardware lawnmower. Now, I'm sure it was made by the same people that make Craftsman today. Ace sells Craftsman today. So, you know, it was MTD, those kind of brands. So, $25. I mean, that's basically free. It's hard to pass those up. Now, we kind of have a rule, me and Carolyn do, that we're not going to drive more than about 25 or 30 miles to go pick up a lawnmower. And this one was 50 miles. Now, the reason we established this rule is once you start driving a lot, you're going to run up your costs. You know, the wear and tear on the truck, gas for the truck, time. You know, I have to make YouTube videos. I still got to work when there's things to do around here. So the cost is too high to be running all over the country to pick up lawnmowers. The second thing is I don't really want a junkyard around here, so I'm not just going to pick up everything. I'm going to be a little bit picky. I already have one junk mower that I can't do anything but part out, and I've been parting it out as best I can, but I don't want more than that. About one is all I want. That way I can have parts laying around. Once it gets to a point where I can't get any more parts off of it, there's this guy down the road that picks up scrap. I'll say, hey, come on over here. We'll load up his trailer with all the scrap stuff I got, and he can have it. But I don't want just more junk laying around here. So, like, if the motor's locked up, when I get there and you know, they'll say $50 for a lawnmower, come get it. And you'll say, what's wrong with it? I don't know. Okay, well, I'm not coming to get it. Even if it's within that 25 miles, I just don't want to go out there and waste my time. So this guy said it was $25. He said the compression relief was broke. So he was still using it years ago. With the compression relief broke, he just put a car battery on it. So he literally had a box on the back of it where a car battery used to sit, and he could start it that way. It just overcome the pressure of the compression relief. The problem is that can be hard on a starter, but it did run. So compression relief, I just would have to buy a new camshaft. That's $89. Take the engine off, turn it upside down, you buy a seal, a gasket, and a camshaft. You're up $100, so $25 for the lawnmower. I'm thinking, okay, this is probably worth the trip. He also said it's been sitting around for years, so you probably have to clean the carburetor. I would probably replace it, but regardless. So we're up to $100, $125, probably $150. Now the problem I was having was it was an Ace lawnmower. I didn't know how well it would sell. So, you know, I was going to paint it. The hood was all messed up. The hood was all messed up, faded. So I was going to paint it to spruce it up, make it look better. But it was 50 miles away, so that's a 100-mile round trip. And it's all back roads. So it was going to be an hour and a half drive. It was a long drive just to get there and then an hour and a half drive back. So we got out there, backed up to it, dropped the tailgate, and I said, I just want to see if the engine turns. I walked over to it, lifted the hood. The hood fell to the ground because it wasn't attached to anything, and I tried to turn it, and it just would not turn. Now this one has a cover on it, so you can't turn it. So even if that happens, what you do is you go underneath and you try to turn it. This one has PTO, so it's going to be even more complicated. I should go down to John Deere and show you what I'm talking about. But even at that, I could have taken this cover off and we could have turned it by hand. But it wouldn't turn. See, this has a cover. Right underneath the cover, you can turn it. And so what that means is that it has sat for so long that rust has accumulated around the rings of the piston and the cylinder and is seized into place. Now you can use stuff to break that loose. You can use even vinegar. Let it soak and it'll break loose. The problem is the cylinder is now pitted. So every time the rings go past that, it's going to wear out the rings first of all, and then oil is going to leak by it and it's going to smoke. And there's not really much you can do to fix that. So the one time we violated our rule to travel further than the 25 or 30 miles, it turned out our fear was recognized. We went out there for nothing. So I don't think we're going to do that again, no matter how good the deal is. Unless somehow, if he would have had a picture showing it running, maybe, because on Facebook Marketplace you can turn the engine. That John Deere I had, it was in bad shape. You can see it in the picture. Terrible shape. Well, just as bad as this Ace, but it was running. He had a video of it running. I could tell that he was trying to hide something with it. You know, it ran for like 2 seconds and he ran over and shut it off on video. So I knew there was something wrong with it, but it ran. And that's all I need. I just need it to run or turn. I can fix the rest. So I was disappointed. He really felt bad. He really did think that that thing did run. And he apologized several times and said, I'll call you back as soon as if we can figure out how to free this up. And I said, oh, no, it's a 100-mile round trip. I don't think I want it. I can't come back out here. So, but he did feel bad, so I'm not going to leave him a negative review or anything. He didn't mean for that to happen. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was showing you my new welding setup. So if I can inspire you to stick to your rules so you live your dreams. Thanks for watching.